so you're thinking of moving to Arlington, Texas? Well, you're at the right spot today because we are going to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, the pros and cons of Arlington, Texas. Now, if you're looking and kind of wanting an overview of Arlington, then you're going to want to go to our other video. We did an overview of Arlington, and it kind of tells you, you know, the different fun things throughout, the things you can do, the things that Arlington has to offer. But today we're going to get more into, what would you say, like the daily grind, the good things, the bad things, the good, bad, and ugly. And stick around because we're switching it up a little today. What are they waiting for here, Michelle?
It's so windy. I mean, in all of your years of real estate, could you say that you have some stories that you could tell?
Y'all, we could write a book with all the crazy stories that we have, right?
So every single transaction is different. We meet all kinds of people and it's fun. It's an adventure most of the time, and do we have some stories to tell?
So we've been talking, and we think at the end of our videos, we're still gonna give you some hot spots that we know about, right? So if you're looking for different cool, like, you know, those holes in the wall that are like have the best food or something like that, we're still gonna offer those tips, but we're gonna start offering you the, what is it? What do we want to call it? The adventures in real estate stories.
So stick around to the end.
You're gonna want to hear it.
Listen to our first story of the session. You will love it.
Hi, I'm Wendy.
And I'm Michelle. And if this is your first time to our channel and you'd like to know everything there is to know about Fort Worth, Texas and beyond, like Arlington, Texas, then please tap the bell for notifications and subscribe so that you'll be the first to know about everything there is to know about Fort Worth, Texas and beyond. So whether you're planning on making the move in 9 days, 9 months, or a year, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Shoot, send us a smoke signal. We'll get back to you.
All of our information is down below. We would love to help you make the move to Fort Worth, Texas and beyond as smooth as possible.
Smooth. You think about Arlington, Texas, what do we all know Arlington, Texas for?
Well, Arlington is probably considered one of the entertainment hubs of all of Texas.
Absolutely. Like when you want to go to a game, you want to go to Six Flags, a game from a football game, you can go see the Cowboys play, or you can go see the Rangers play.
I would say if you've never been to Arlington, Texas, you could probably take a 2-week vacation, stay only in Arlington, do not leave to go to any other city, and still be entertained for the entire 2 weeks.
Yes. So that's definitely a pro, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes.
But that leads me, sorry to interrupt you, but that leads me to a con. And no matter where, if you're going to one of those events, or if you're just passing on one of the highways, like it makes me think of right away, like, so we have I-30 and I-20 and they run parallel to each other. And another one I was thinking of is 360 that goes north and south. Those all surround Arlington or are part of Arlington or go through Arlington, let's say. When you get to those points, even if you're not going to one of those events, then you can tell the slow in the traffic. Or like
I've always said that you've never been through or had to sit through traffic until you've been in Arlington on a game day at Globe Life Field, plus a concert at AT&T Stadium at the same time.
And the only other place that you're gonna find where it is like locked down like that is, of course, if there's an accident or something, right? That's to be expected anywhere you go. But in Dallas, and that's where the Mavs are playing, or if there's like a big concert or something like that. But you're gonna experience that we would say that would be a con, right?
Yeah, so that would be a pretty big con, I would think. But it's not like that every day. So don't think that, you know, if you live there or visit or live close by that you're going to be going through a ton of traffic every single day. It's just like any major city.
Which leads me to my next thought, because we need to be able to expense all these fun things, right guys? So it has a great job market.
Yes.
In Arlington, they have a lot of large employers, but different employers throughout, so it'll help you afford all that fun.
A few of the big ones are GM plant is right there. They hire thousands and thousands of workers. A lot of them live in Arlington. Texas health systems as well. A lot of nurses that don't want to be in the big cities like Fort Worth or Dallas settle in Arlington, and there are a lot of job opportunities here.
And the Six, you don't really think about it right away, but Six Flags is another huge employer. So are the Rangers, the Cowboys, because they need a lot of help in those gigantic stadiums.
My very first job at 15 years old was at Six Flags over Texas, and it was a lot of fun.
What did you do there? I didn't know that.
I worked at the antique photography store, so we helped people get dressed up in the old Western costumes or Victorian,
cool.
and took their pictures, and it was really neat. So for a first job, it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Mine was Subway. Eat fresh. Now, another pro that we were talking about earlier is its location. It is a nice centralized location. So you have, I don't want to get it wrong like I did
we're
in
about
other videos.
20 minutes west of Dallas. We're centralized right between Dallas and Fort Worth, about 20 miles west of Dallas and about 15 miles east of Fort Worth.
So you're right in the mix of everything, and you can go further on the outskirts where you're not going to get stuck in all that traffic or be around it exactly. So you can move around the outskirts of that and be safe. So,
like you said before, I-20 and I-30 kind of run parallel to each other. So if you use Waze like we do, we really recommend that because it gives us traffic situations and scenarios throughout the Metroplex.
And that's a GPS for those of you that haven't used that yet. Waze will tell you about like when the traffic is really thick, when it gets better, if there's an accident, and it will route you around those accidents or around that crazy traffic.
So if there's a major wreck on I-30, for instance, and it's at a complete standstill, and you gave Waze enough time to give you notifications, 20 is also a very good accessible highway to get wherever you need to get, either to Dallas or Fort Worth.
So that would definitely be a pro because you're right in the mix of things. You don't have to drive too far if you need to go to Dallas or over to Fort Worth or north or south. But that leads to a con of limited scenery. You're not going to be out in, we really don't have any mountains here in North Texas anyway, so sorry guys. That was a surprise to me. I just never even thought about when I moved here, but there's not really mountains. If people tell you they're going hiking, they're going on a long walk. So
yes, there's not a whole lot of water. We have Lake Arlington here. It's a big man-made lake, but you're not going to have the sand underneath your feet and the beaches that you would come to expect from people coming from the east or the west coast. We do have Galveston, which is about a 4.5-hour drive, depending on who's driving, from Arlington.
I drive a little faster than her.
And it's the beach. There's not a whole lot more to say about it. It will do for a brief vacation, but as far as Arlington, there's not a whole lot of scenery if you're a nature person.
But with that being said, a pro is because you are so central, you can go to a lot of different locations around there and probably find those outdoor activities because throughout North Texas, throughout DFW, you do have a lot of lakes, a lot of hiking trails. Again, hiking is walking with little hills, and walking trails and different nature preserves and stuff throughout DFW. So you have that, and it won't take you too long to get to those. But that leads me to our last pro, and that is the cultural diversity. And we touched on that in our vlog, and it was our vlog of Arlington if you want to check that out later. But we talk about all the different amazing types of foods you can get. I mean, it's not like your normal standard, like Chinese, Mexican, and down-home cooking. It is like an array of different places to go to.
So if you go on the City of Arlington's website, in 2021, Arlington was actually named the #8 most diverse city in the whole U.S. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So,
and what year was that?
In 2021. So,
oh, nice. So that's recent.
Yes. And then in 2020, it was number 11. So we're steadily becoming more and more diverse if you look at those numbers. But yeah, I mean, just so many different options that you typically do not see in most cities. We have Nigerian food, we have French, we have Chinese, we have Vietnamese, we have all different things that you can take your palate on an adventure every night of the week.
And it's not just like the restaurants, but you have the supermarkets and the things that where if you like Michelle here is a great cook. And I think I can throw down a little too, but you can go to those markets and find the things that you need as well. And that's kind of contradictory to what a lot of people think about Texas in general. They think, I guess, we're just a bunch of cowboys out here roping and doing all these crazy things, when in actuality you can go and get yourself some Nigerian food that you would never expect. So that's pretty cool. But that's kind of like the pros and cons of Arlington. Could you think of anything else?
So we have a lot of clients coming here from out of state, and they're looking for very specific things in mind. And the biggest thing that we're getting right now is they're wanting acreage. And there is so little land left in Arlington that if you're wanting a house on a full acre or 2 acres or whatever that looks like, Arlington probably is not the right place. Now, if you expand out a little bit further, right? If you're going out to Burleson or Cleburne or further west to Weatherford, those are, very easily, those are properties that we could very easily find for you. But if you're wanting acreage, it would be tough in Arlington for sure.
It definitely is tough, but just so you know, it's not impossible, but you might have to pay more. So if you're willing to pay more, we might have better possibility of getting you a little bit of acreage. But like Michelle said, if you want bang for your buck and more opportunity as far as getting all of that land with a beautiful home, then yeah, those outskirts kind of surrounding, and those we can go over those specific cities with you. But that pretty much kind of wraps up Arlington. It's a great place to live, work, and play. And if you want to know more about it, definitely reach out to us. We would love to tell you all the fun things, the good, bad, and ugly about Arlington, Texas. Oh, we're to the good stuff. Thanks for sticking around to the end, because we have a real estate adventure story for you. Listen up, this is what Michelle went through.
So I get asked all the time about the market 2 years ago, and it was a really crazy market. I mean, it's something that we had not seen here in a very long time. At one point during that time,
that was historical.
At one point during that time, we had the statistics were that we had 1,400 new families moving to North Texas every week.
It was nuts.
Now that sounds crazy, but here's a story that I personally experienced that I thought was just totally crazy, even in the market that we were in 2 years ago. So Frisco market is huge.
So Frisco, for those of you that don't know, just real quick, is up north.
Yes, and it's one of those markets that has really started booming in the last few years, and people from California and New York and other states, when they think about moving to Texas, that is actually one of the first cities that they think about, just because of school ratings, shopping, dining options. It's just one of those markets that have really boomed lately.
According to niche.com.
Yes.
That's what they were saying.
So I had some potential buyers that reached out to me. I had seen a listing on Zillow for a house that was $550,000 in Frisco.
Which is about average in Frisco, in case you're not familiar.
Well, it's a little lower, I think. I think the price per square foot of that house was lower than what a typical house in Frisco sold for at the time. The homes in Frisco at the time were selling anywhere from like $225 a square foot to $250. And this one was listed right under $200 a square foot. So I knew going into it that it would be a hot house. Drove up, my buyers pulled up, and we saw a line that snaked all the way down the sidewalk. So we stood and waited in that line for almost a good hour just to get into the house.
Was it like hundreds of people?
It seemed like it for sure. So we walk in, and it didn't have all the bells and whistles, right? And that's why it was priced the way that it was. Walked into the master, and all the carpet was pulled up in the master. And so my buyers were like, what is going on? I didn't know. So after we left the house, I called up the listing agent. I was like, hey, what's going on in this property? I mean, the rest of the floor and the rest of the house is fine, except for the master. Like, what's going on? And he said, well, it's a probate situation, right? Which it happens a lot, right? We get a lot of probate transactions and we help the families, and it's typically not that big of a deal. Well, this listing agent told me that the wife apparently had gotten very upset with the husband, shot him. In fact, she emptied the entire chamber into him. So in a house where there was a murder, there were 200 showings in 3 days.
Which obviously was being disclosed because in the state of Texas, if there's a murder in the home, you have to disclose it.
Yes. They had received over 60 offers. And
over 60 offers.
60 offers.
And everyone knew that a murder just had taken place.
Yes.
Was there stuff on the walls or anything?
They had cleaned it up as best they could. So the only thing that I noticed when I was in the house without knowing the history or what had happened was the flooring that was pulled up.
Were there any stains on the ground?
I didn't look that closely. I didn't want to. But 200 showings in 3 days, 60 offers. My buyer still wanted the house. He just wanted to live in that area. We submitted an offer for $100,000 over list price in cash and still did not get it.
And that is not unnormal. Like we have more stories for you guys that they are crazy, but that market was just as crazy because I had people cash as well, made $150,000 offer over and still didn't get it either. So that is our first adventures in real estate story for you. And we look forward to telling you guys more. You can look for them at the end of all of our videos. And if you ever just want to hear some good ones, give us a call, send us a text. Hey, a smoke signal will get to you.
Until next time, we hope to see you around town.